And welcome back to the show. The Interledger Foundation is a not-for-profit advocate for the web, promoting innovation, creativity, and inclusion by advancing open payment standards, as well as technology which seamlessly connects our global society. Now they're working towards a more equitable and creative global society via open payments network, enabling anyone to seamlessly earn, share, buy, and sell, as well as trade with anybody else in the world. Joining us now to share more is the Executive Director of Interledger Foundation, Briana Marbury. And Briana, good to have you.
Thank you for having me on the show. Very much appreciate it.
Thank you. And so for our viewers, just make us a little bit more aware of what the work of the Interledger Foundation does.
Okay, so the Interledger Foundation is, we are advocates of the Interledger protocol. And what the Interledger protocol is, to put it in an easy to understand way, it is a currency network. So similar to how the internet transfers data from one place to another very fast, the Interledger protocol transfers currency from one place to another very fast. And that comes into a really useful play when you're talking about open payments and what we call web monetization. So say you have Cash App, I have Venmo, we can't pay each other unless we're on the same network. But if they were both Interledger enabled, then you wouldn't have that issue and you could pay anyone anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter if you wanted to pay me with Thai baht to USD or cryptocurrency to fiat currency.
And so when we talk about this, I mean, this is a great piece that people have, and particularly I want to talk about those people who live under the poverty line, because we have a lot of people currently in New York State, New York City, across the world who are living, I should say the country, living underneath the poverty line. And I know some of the work that you're doing is really trying to bridge that gap.
Yes, we're really trying to make the technology at the foundation. We are advocates and stewards of the technology. So we're really trying to make it to where we can use it for financial inclusion. And what that means is a lot of people don't have access to a bank account, or it's very difficult for them to open a bank account. But if you have a digital wallet and you're able to transact money digitally, then you would be able to participate in your economy.
And so we hear the word web monetization. We hear that often. So first of all, define web monetization and how that plays out in the work that you do.
Sure. So the way that we use web monetization is, say for instance, you are a blogger. Our BronxNet is a station that is web monetized. And so what that means is your subscribers, like me, for instance, I'm concerned about my privacy. We've heard a lot about privacy with what's going on with Facebook. And so I'm concerned about my privacy. I don't want my information sold. I'm willing to pay $5 a month and support creators that I really enjoy their content. So what web monetization allows you to do is get paid for the content that you create without selling your users' privacy. And so I would pay $5 a month to subscribe to a service such as Coil. And since your site is web monetized, every time I go to your site, every second that I spend on there, you get streamed payments. It's called small micropayments. So for every second that I'm viewing your website and interacting with your website, you're getting small micropayments. And so the more viewers that you have, the more money you will get.
Pretty interesting there. And when we talk about that, I mean, obviously a lot of people do need this service and being able to help in the area of web monetization. Where do you find is the biggest gap when we talk about this particular area?
Well, the biggest gap that we have seen are creators who are not like huge yet, right? So a lot of the advertising dollars from the big companies go to the biggest platforms right now. And so if you're a smaller creator, you're kind of left out in the cold. You're not able to make a living wage off of your content that you're creating. And what we're trying to do is bridge the gap to make sure that the people who are kind of starting off, who aren't as well known, have a way to make money off of their content as well.
And so there are grants that are actually available. I want to talk about some of the grants and some of the grant opportunities that are available.
Yes, so one of our programs is Grant for the Web. And what that is we look at people who are trying to experiment with web monetization, who want to build on the infrastructure of the Interledger protocol by like adding a node or adding an API. And we're also looking at content creators who are looking at really interesting business models for the web. So for instance, we just did a grant with Crown Magazine, and they are creating a series on Black maternal health. And so everything that they create will be web monetized when you go view it.
And so when we talk about grants, how can people take advantage of that, and who's actually eligible to apply for these grants?
Anyone's eligible to apply for the grant. We have different areas that we look for depending on what we see with the ecosystem. So say for instance, we are missing some apps or APIs in the ecosystem, we'll put out a call for proposals about that. Say for instance, we want to do research. If you're interested in doing research about the Interledger protocol and user behaviors, there's opportunities to receive grants around that as well. So you just have a really compelling idea, and that's innovative and a different way of thinking about the earning model of the web and kind of disrupting that and using the Interledger protocol to do that, we're interested to hear from you.
And you yourself, I mean, obviously you're in the tech field, and let's talk about you for a moment. I mean, you're one of the only Black women that are actually leading a major tech philanthropy organization, and you've got a huge foundation that deals with almost $100 million. And talk to us about just the fact that the seat that you're sitting in, because we don't normally see people of color occupying seats in tech.
Yeah, I feel very fortunate to be in the position that I'm in and to be able to have the voice and the autonomy to have the voice to speak to other people of color. I am not from the tech world originally. I am from the foundation and nonprofit world. And so since I've been in this position, which has been about a little over a year and a half, I'm learning about this tech. So I'm new to this world.
Yeah, but talk to us about this, because when we talk about tech and social justice, because this is a social justice forum,
Yes.
a lot of people say, how does tech really correlate with social justice? And there are some huge things that we can actually make the comparison to say that tech and social justice really go hand in hand.
Yes, because there's a couple of ways, right? So when you look at like Silicon Valley, what does it look like? It looks pale and male right now. And so one thing that I stole that from somebody. So one thing that we're looking to do at the foundation is make sure that you have more diverse voices in the ecosystem. And also, when you're looking at the people who benefit off of technology and innovation, it's usually not people of color. We're usually left behind, our voices are not included. And so we really want to change the landscape of tech to make sure that all voices are heard, including underrepresented individuals and people from communities who often are ignored. And so because we move forward with tech, those voices are often left behind. And you're also left behind in being able to advance in other areas of your life. And in our case, and financially.
Yeah. And so what's it been like for you, obviously being a woman of color and in a place that's predominantly, as you say, quote unquote, pale and male? What's it been like for you navigating these circles and really trying to bring more people, particularly in communities of color, into tech?
Yes, so a lot of people are very cognizant of this issue that is in tech. For me, it's been just really trying to find partnerships with other organizations that are concerned about the same things as us, is finding those partners who are, HBCUs who want to partner with us, looking at the Hispanic philanthropy organizations who want to partner with us and are interested in changing the landscape of tech, but also other big organizations too, who may not be known for their diversity, are recognizing that this is an issue. And so they're willing to work with us and talk to us about trying to increase their diversity efforts.
So you do find that there are people who are more receptive to understanding the plight of what's going on right now.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because DEI is like the huge thing right now. Everybody's talking about DEI. Everybody's interested in trying to increase their DEI numbers. So I don't know anyone in the tech field who would outwardly say like, no, we're not interested in DEI, or we're not interested in expanding the view of what tech looks like.
I was looking at one of your beliefs, and one of your beliefs is that you believe that monetary interaction should be as easy as information exchange. But we do know when it comes to communities of color, that's one of the big barriers. We always talk about this information exchange, that those resources aren't so readily available.
Yes, that's true. And so those resources are not only not readily available, if they are available, a lot of them, they don't know about it. So what we have done at the foundation is we've hired ambassadors who have these relationships with different communities, different marginalized communities, that can help educate them and bring them into the ecosystem, like bring them into the fold. Hey, do you have an idea? Here's a grant opportunity for you. Let's work on this idea that you have and make it feasible to where you can get a grant. And some of our former awardees have actually gone on to receive other seed funding from other organizations.
So really providing alternatives for, being able to earn on the web. I know that's something that you're pretty passionate about. And so when we look at earning on the web, how much is actually being made on the web right now? We talk about billions of dollars?
So made on the web right now through the methods that are already established. Like right now you have ads that you can earn through, and that's by selling your users information. You also have paywalls where you've been scrolling, and then you come across something, you can't go any further until you sign up for a subscription. And so the conversion rates of those are actually very, very low. And you will not make a lot of money off of that unless you are like one of the bigger organizations. And so that's what we're trying to combat, giving everybody kind of like an equal opportunity to earn. If you're getting views on your site, then you're getting more money.
What are some of the common mistakes people make when they approach this?
Some of the common mistakes that people make is not thinking about it like really holistically. They have an idea already and they're like, oh, we'll just slap on, we'll just say we'll use web monetization just to try to get a grant, without thinking about it like in depth of how this could really actually change the landscape of advertising on the web. So really that's what we've been seeing with some of the applications. We've gotten some great applications though, and some people trying to do some really, really innovative things.
And so you talk about applications. Obviously, there may be somebody out there that's watching and says, listen, how do I get my hand on an application? What's the process? And how do I get engaged?
So yeah, you can go to interledger.org. And you can go to grantfortheweb.org. Right now, our call for proposals is closed, but we will be opening up another one very soon. And if you just sign up for our info, we will send out like when we are opening up our call for proposals.
So talk to us about what the future holds for you.
So right now we are expanding the we are expanding Grant for the Web and looking at what are some of the gaps in the ecosystem that we need to fill, and basing our call for proposals off of that. We're also doing research into open payments to see what is it, how can this technology be used to uplift people, especially in other countries who are under or unbanked, versus coming out with like, okay, this is something that we think is going to be great, here, use it, and then nobody actually uses it. So we're trying to look at it from a ground up approach. How do you want to use this technology? How would it be more useful, the most useful for you? And building a program around that.
Briana Marbury, our guest here from Interledger Foundation, thank you so much for being with us, and continue to do the work in bridging the gap on the digital divide. Great having you with us.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Well, listen, I want you to stay connected to us right here. We do have more on the social justice forums. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll have another very special guest.